welcome to a brand new video. We've got a very tired Grant here today, but we're going to finish off this little mini series and we're going to be covering stuff with the upper body this time, mainly shoulders. So we'll get straight into it with the first question. Any tips on regaining shoulder mobility after a dislocation?
After dislocation, you typically want to look at the stability of the joint first. So before you go into the whole mobility and range of motion, make sure that the joint is stable. You can just do a simple test with any kind of shoulder injury of, you basically just do elevation, depression, protraction, retraction. So basically something like that. The idea is that you should have equal movement in each plane. If you haven't got that, there's probably a problem with the way your joint's sitting, so I focus on that primarily to start off with. But like regaining range of motion, you can do simple stuff, just like simple stretches, which we will show you later on, just to kind of get your shoulder back into positions it may not be used to being in. But it's just quite simple, just stretching it mostly.
Then we go to the next one, how to avoid and then rehabilitate overextended elbows.
So overextended elbows is, there's a few different syndromes and conditions that relate to this, so just ensure that you don't have any of them. One of them being Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which I've had experience with myself. I had a client who, was hyperextended everything. Hypermobility is a really strange one to deal with, but it's mostly when you train, I would typically tell the client just go kind of like not full range of motion. So trying to think like say you mark it as 100% range of motion, let's try and just go to 80% range of motion. So say if you're locking out your arm on the presser, instead of going as far as there, I'm just going to go to there, and that's as far as I go. And it's just more so about getting the biomechanics to work with your brain rather than, like just how you prevent it as such. So it's more like in your mind than anything else.
So we got any exercises for preventing soothing PEC Minor soreness from benching?
So if you've got PEC Minor soreness, I would probably ask firstly what it is you do for work. I imagine it might be an assumption, but I imagine it's like office work or you're sat down for quite a long time. You most likely have protracted shoulders. So protracted shoulders mean your shoulders kind of sit forward. And then basically when that happens is the chest will kind of flare and basically hug the shoulder in, it pulls the shoulder in, and it can be really quite uncomfortable. The only thing I can suggest is, we'll show you what you can do for it to kind of release it. It's quite simple, quite painful. However, I would just avoid trying to do like bench and stuff straight away. Focus on some pull motions first, just get retraction of your shoulders going so that your scapula is supporting, and you'll probably find it won't hurt quite as much. But I would strongly suggest you do some release work through the PEC Minor, which you can do as like a cricket ball, tennis ball. You can even do foam rolling, anything like that would be ideal.
So we got, I have tendinopathy in my left one, which I do some exercises for, but it's prevention as well as it flaring up.
Left shoulder.
Yeah.
Tendinopathy is essentially tendinitis, which is the same thing as like tennis elbow, golfer's elbow. There's two aspects to this. I strongly believe, and there's probably quite a controversial thing to say, I strongly believe that tendinopathy, stuff like that, is usually caused by overexertion, but then in conjunction with stuff like carbohydrates. I know it's controversial. In my experience is people who have a carbohydrate-rich diet, they tend to have more back pain, knee pain, any kind of joint, it tends to flare. So basically, if you can, reduce the amount of carbohydrates you have when you find it flaring up, and it will go down over time. Another thing is, it's more related to like arthritis and that type of stuff, but stuff like tomatoes is a weird one, can actually increase inflammation in the same way. So you want to avoid, if you are finding it's flaring, eating stuff like that. But the best thing to actually treat tendinopathy is try and do what's called passive strengthening. So for example, if I have like tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, if I just have my hand like that or like that, all I'm going to try and do is basically push my hand up against something or like down against something, so it's only coming from the hand, there's nothing else. So if I push, I can feel the flare through the tendon through the elbow in the same way the other way. So that's just how you would essentially slowly treat golfer's elbow or tennis elbow if it was playing up. In the same way, there's a shoulder exercise you can do to try and treat the tendinopathy through your shoulder.
Please can you ask what the best way to build resistance in different angles, please, e.g. building the strength and resistance in a shoulder when it's in a vulnerable position?
So vulnerable position, presuming you mean positions like your arms kind of like thrown back, really typically wouldn't have any muscle to kind of like get the fire back. Presumably it's against resistance against the body weight like you guys would be doing. I would suggest primarily focus on the stability of the joint again, like we said in the first question. The stabilization of your shoulder joint. The shoulder joint is really complicated. It's a really, really complicated joint. The best way to describe it essentially is it's ball and socket, but we're the only animals on this earth that have the ability to kind of like roll it round in the same way that we do. Like if you look at dogs' shoulders like that, they just cannot do that. So it's a really complicated joint, so it's really vulnerable generally anyway. But most importantly, you want to focus on just the stabilization, and if you can just do stuff that's like slow tempo. So you're doing shoulder press, for example, you don't actually have to do like, you know, like banging reps. If you just do like something like a 3-1-3-1 tempo, which I often do with clients, you're creating strength not just for the shoulder itself, but you know, the ligaments tend to fly through there. So one thing you can also do is one of my favorite exercises, bottom up kettlebell press. And basically the idea is you're holding the kettlebell, you know, the handle up so the base is facing upwards, you're just doing a press, and that creates a lot of instability in the shoulder. So again, we're looking at kind of getting your body to react and be familiar in the positions where it is unstable. By having that unstable situation, you're creating a stability so that when your shoulder gets impacted, it's not going to be as severe because it's kind of used to being unstable anyway, essentially. But it's just like, you know, light strengthening, essentially.
Yeah. Off the back of that, obviously remember those questions, they are specific to you. These are kind of broad answers generally, and you would need to come in and actually be assessed and kind of have your case kind of looked at individually. So if it's something that really is an issue, don't be afraid to pop in, contact Grant. You get a free consultation on our first one, and we can kind of give you the lowdown on what's cracking.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Grant?
In fact, actually no, it's not to do with the. I meant to go over some more back stuff from the other day. We can do. We'll add some more in. This is probably a separate video, but there's a release work. I've got a really good quick fix without back pain on the day, just to get rid of it.
Yeah. So we got bonus back
pain stuff.
Yeah.
What you're doing is essentially looking to try and hit your piriformis. So when your lumbar's flared, it's your piriformis that hugs up and holds most of the pain, essentially, right? So we're going to sit on the foam roller, cross one leg over. Again, we're trying to hit piriformis there, so we're going to tilt and basically try and get into the upper corner of our glute. And we're not going to roll. We're just going to find where it's painful and just press. And I guarantee everyone has this. You know, for some people it's quite excruciating, like there, it's quite bad.
Yeah.
But you're just going to hold and just basically do it until the lace is gone. So again, we're trying to hit exactly like here, like upper corner of the glutes. We're trying to avoid your hip. So you can lean back as well. Can you feel that tension in there?
Yeah, I think I can, yeah.
It's quite sharp. Should you feel like quite a sharp numbing pain? So you can do this with a medicine ball, you can do a tennis ball, cricket ball, anything like that. It's ideal.
Short ball, what do you mean?
And just to give a little bit of instruction today so the camera can see what we're talking about. So we're essentially trying to hit along there, so like basically where your shoulder starts, literally along that bit of your chest. You're just basically holding and pressing rather than rolling itself. So just press into where it's tough, and that will release PEC Minor. So just keep going, and you'll find as you get towards the corner of your pec, that's where it's really tough tissue. So you get a PEC Minor issue, that's exactly what it'll be. So you're looking right here, like almost like towards the armpit kind of